Semifinal time. We have number 1 Fireball Island versus number 7 Atlantis Rising.
Yep.
Number 3 Sentient versus number 4 Unmatched.
Awesome. So going into this first one, Fireball Island versus Atlantis Rising. I know Atlantis Rising is kind of like quickly one of your favorites. Do you feel like the same for this one? You had resentment towards Fireball Island at first.
Yeah, I think Atlantis Rising is just a better game in general. Not that I hate I don't like Fireball Island. Again, it's my least favorite restoration game for a reason. I think it's just too campy for what it is.
Sure.
So the art and production of it is beautiful,
Right.
except for one thing. There's one thing I hate about it, and it's production value, and that's the box.
Yes.
The box is disgusting.
Yep. They wanted it to feel like an original style, and yeah, no, it was damaged. It's corrugated cardboard.
Yeah,
And
it's not
unpleasant.
good. It's very thin too, very thin and flimsy.
Yep. I see what they went with that. I understand why people are upset. I see why it's easily annoyed, but everything else still production wise.
So if we want to
Not
argue
much.
it, we can argue it. But if we go down to it, ease of play, yeah, I'll give to Fireball Island. It just is a much simpler game.
And art and production.
And the production, I'll give that as well. But if you go to meaningful choices, I think flat out Atlantis Rising, there's a lot more meaningful choices in that game. When you go into impacting other players, impacting long-term strategy, because you are working with other players, being smart about where you go on those islands.
Now, don't forget, as far as affecting other players, though, when you flick that marble at them, that's pretty impactful, quite literally.
Yeah, but this is where I think it would lose, is you can randomly play Fireball Island and probably still do pretty decent compared to Atlantis Rising.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. I completely agree.
Replay value, Atlantis Rising. When you go down to it, length of time and scaling well.
There's no
that
difference
might
from
be
one game to
Fireball
another.
Island, but they pretty much play around the same time. Maybe Atlantis Rising a little bit longer.
But then additional content, though, would go to Fireball.
Yeah, it would. I think they are talking about an expansion, but I'm not too sure about Atlantis Rising, or it did come with an expansion. I can't remember. I can look it up, but expandability, yeah, I'll give replay value to that. Oh, if we give it to the Fireball Island, we'll move on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, sure, a game is made up of the meaningful choices and the immersion. I feel like Atlantis Rising is strong, but
Let me check up Atlantis Rising, see if it does have an expansion.
Okay.
I mean, there's more in Fireball Island.
Yeah, there was more expansions.
But
for sure.
the expansions in Fireball Island don't really change the way the Fireball Island game plays, other than you can make spiders jump.
Yeah, that's one of the factors, but it does. It changes the game more than no expansions. You know.
The thing is with me with Atlantis Rising, because of the asymmetrical nature of the players, you have a more number of plays just to learn how each of those players
The minimum
work.
number of play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the only difference, though, is just the players. Whereas the characters in Fireball Island are different as well.
Yes, there is an expansion.
Yeah, but there's multiple for Fireball Island.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
3.
So if we say the way, if we're going to be fair, I'll give Fireball Island to move on, even though I find it the most disgustingly game here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth of the matter is, I like Atlantis Rising better. I do, but as far as ease of play goes, as far as replay value goes, as far as production, it's a better game on that aspect, and that beats out ours with the categories.
The only thing when it comes down to art and production that I say that is better per se is the art.
Yeah.
The design both work functionally. To me, that kind of is a wash because the design for the way Atlantis Rising works really well. Implementation, but Fireball Island, again, it's made that big plastic chunky pieces for the marbles to roll down and affect other players. Pieces and components, hands down, I would give to Atlantis Rising just because they're better quality.
Pieces and components would go
personally,
to...
there's more in Fireball Island, but I'm talking about the quality of the pieces and components.
I mean, they have like ceramic...
That's a really thin plastic that's in for the Fireball Island,
For
the
the
actual
board,
island
sure,
itself.
yeah, but I mean it's standard punch board for the board Atlantis Rising. I don't disagree with that, but
What do
they
you think
had
is
to
going to
go
last over time better
Atla-
wise?
uh
The
Fireball
good
Island, hands
cardboard
down.
or the poor plastic?
The poor plastic, because plastic is more durable than cardboard.
Not
Yeah.
that plastic. Case in point, the material that the Fireball Island plastic is made of was like the original copy of the Reavers and Midgard
Oh no,
tray
it's
thing.
not that cheap. It's not
Cheap.
much
I don't
better,
like
but
it,
it's
but
not that bad. Let's be
we're
honest.
already saying Fireball Island moves on. I'm
Okay.
just gonna say why Atlanta Rising should move on, but Fireball Island is nah.
I know it's just because you don't like it, and I don't blame you. I like
It's not
Atlantis
that I
Rising
don't like
better.
it. It's I truly think that plastic is low quality. That cardboard box is horrendous. The gameplay of it, the only thing we give to Atlantis Rising is true. The meaningful choices, which makes it a game.
Yeah.
Fireball Island, it's all about flicking those marbles. That's all it really is.
Yep, and the immersion as well goes to Atlantis Rising,
Yeah.
because it does feel like an island is sinking. But I mean, it's Fireball Island is still pretty immersive though. Like it's not, if we're being like almost a mass market game, it's pretty good. But no, Fireball Island goes on then into our finals. Who knew?
Yeah.
And
it's funny because both of us don't really care much for the game.
right, but we gotta be fair. We gotta be fair about it. So, Sentient and Unmatched. Now, I already know which one you're gonna push hard for. And
It's a better game, honestly.
Unmatched, I wouldn't
To
say.
me, Sentient is the problem with Sentient. It's a worker placement that gets lost in the crowd. It doesn't do anything new. It doesn't do anything that's immersive. You'll get the only thing it has is those plus minuses, which can take people out of the game and how you want to do it. When you go into the art production, the Unmatched has much better production value. The art is kind of a wash to me here. Sentient's pretty, but so is Unmatched. It's a different style of art, and I really dig the art in Unmatched. The boards are really nice. The minis are really nice.
Yep. The extra tokens are good. Yeah.
I like the design function of the way the
especially
board
the board.
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
Game immersion, I would give to Unmatched.
Okay.
Just because there's a lot of more stand-up moments. When we were playing it, we were getting pissed at Bryce because he kept making himself bigger or smaller. It's like, stop doing that! I'm trying to hit you.
No, it's Sentient is not an immersive game in the slightest.
It really isn't.
It's a good game, but it's not like that. No.
Meaningful choices. This is where it kind of gets to a wash. You have to be smart at how you play in Sentient, but
I think Sentient, that's the only category it really excels on, is the meaningful choices.
The only problem with that is I will give impacting long-term strategy to it, but impacting other player, the whole point of on matches, you have to interact with the other player you're going up against. As well as arbitrary choices, you have to be smart at how you play your cards in.
No, it's...
To me, arbitrary choices, to me, it's more a wash than it goes to Sentient.
No,
because
I would say
you can't make
Sentient.
Arbitrary choices in either one of those games.
I can't give you that one because you said it earlier that if you make one arbitrary choice in Sentient, you're done. Whereas you just have a small hand of cards for Unmatched, and all of them are pretty good, which means that you'll have a decent turn no matter how much thought you put into it.
Yes and no, because you're only allowed a certain amount of cards. You have to be smart of how and when you can draw, because you have to use the one ability where you move slightly and draw up a card. You have to be smart about doing that, or else you're not going to have any cards in your hand, and you got to move around the board to start drawing cards in your hand, which means you're running away from the other players as best as your ability.
Yeah, well, that means that you have to skip a turn to get your cards back.
And it's not really skipping a turn. You just have to be smart at how you play it. If you just arbitrarily just play out your cards because they're powerful and not think about how you're getting cards back into your hand, then that's going to hurt you.
Yeah, I know, but it's not going to hurt you nearly as bad as if I take a card that completely throws off my whole system, I ruin the card next to it, I put my worker in the wrong spot, there's no way I can gain majority. This card, I'm not going to score bonus points for it. There's so much more into Sentient than it is.
Now, I'll give you a meaningful choice, but I
everything
strongly
else,
disagree. I strongly disagree. Ease of play.
Unmatched.
Unmatched. I think it's, again, yeah.
Would
It's
you
a
be
worker
fair with
placement.
calling it a wash? Because Sentient, it's unlikely to get it to the table versus Unmatched, but at the same time, it's not difficult. It's a very simple game. You have 4
The reason
spots.
why I wouldn't give it a wash is because I who don't really have a lot of analysis paralysis, had more analysis paralysis in Sentient than I did in Unmatched. It's like, okay, these are the cards I'm playing. I know basically how my character is going to play. With Sentient, I'm like, okay, but I want the majority over there if I can win that. But I got to be smart about that because the minus over there, it does tend to leave itself a little bit more, especially for as small of a game as it is, it leads more to analysis paralysis.
But the fact that since you said that every deck is completely different in Unmatched, that's every time you play each character, you have to learn that character.
Yeah, but it's not likely because like, again, you said it earlier. When you only have a certain amount of cards in your hand, you can read how those cards work pretty quickly.
Okay.
Whereas the EP prone does tend to have a more of an effect in a Sentient.
Okay.
Let's just put it this way: we both know someone who's AP prone.
Sure.
Would you rather play Sentient with them or Unmatched with them?
That's a solid point. Okay. No, that's a solid argument. So that means that 1 to 4 rank Unmatched beats Sentient, which in its defense, the viewers kind of voted that way as well.
Yeah, so the two that were eliminated was Atlantis Rising and Sentient. Sentient got no votes.
Yeah, it was our
Again,
only
it's
one that did not
it's
get a
one of
vote.
those games that just got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, yeah. It was trying to be something that it wasn't. Like it looked like it was like these big sentient
Mm-hmm.
cybernetic like creatures that you're programming and you're doing all these amazing things. Where really you're just like changing values on dice, but
And it's
and
not just
scoring in
that. It's
different
not
ways.
you're not these sentient, these cyborgs.
Yeah.
You're these little robots that are helping you build this utopia that you're trying to build.
Right. Yeah. The theme isn't there at all.
No, and so Atlantis Rising was our second vote getter at 3, and
Mm-hmm.
Sentient had none.
Yep. All right. Which means Fireball Island versus Unmatched for the finals.
And
What a
Restoration Game Final.
Oh, that's right. Both of them are a restoration. Well, good job.
Fireball
Restoration,
Island
yeah.
reimplementation of Fireball Island, and Unmatched a reimplementation of Star Wars Epic Duels, correct?
Yep. Star Wars Epic Duels, which was a fun game. All right, so we're going to take a very quick break, and then we'll be right back for the finals. So stay tuned.
All right, getting this done quick.